The over-under for wins for every single Major League Baseball team have been released. So I thought it'd be a good idea to go over the win total for every single team and tell you whether I think they're going to finish the year over or under based on how good I think this team is. So make sure you stick around to the end to make sure you see your favorite team's prediction. Remember to drop a like on the video if you enjoy it, subscribe to the channel if you have not yet done so, it really does help support, and follow me on all my social media, GiraffeNeckMarc, links in description. Also, get in the comment section down below, let me know which team you think is the lock to get their over on wins thus far. So starting it off at the bottom, we have the Chicago White Sox, who according to DraftKings, which is what we're going to be using for every win over under in this video, they have the White Sox at 53.5 wins, which basically means they think the White Sox are going to win 13 more games this year than they did last year. It feels almost impossible for the White Sox to not win 13 more games than they did last year. It's insane. They only won 41 games, the worst season in Major League Baseball history. But it's also crazy to think that 13 wins better than they were last year feels almost impossible, feels insane. Now, I could see the White Sox cracking 50 wins. I could see them getting 51, 52. Are they going to get to 54 wins this year? The rotation is pretty horrible. I mean, there are some players that I'm keeping an eye out for. A guy like Sean Burke is kind of interesting. I think I would be taking the under on the White Sox here. Like Luis Robert might get traded. I think if anybody's good on this team, they're going to get traded. It is a major rebuild. They are on the path to going in the right direction, and I like what the front office has been able to do. But as for the 2025 team, I legitimately don't know how they win 54, 55 games this year, so I got to take the under for sure. Next up, we have the Colorado Rockies, who are given the line of 58.5 wins. And to be honest, initial reaction, I think that this is an over. I don't know what is going on right now, but I'm drinking the Rockies Kool-Aid in that. I don't think they are going to be the second worst team in baseball, which is what they're currently put at. I like a lot of their young players. Like I love Ezekiel Tovar. Michael Toglia has been raking in spring training. The biggest problem for them is always going to be their pitching, because their pitching just cannot really ever be consistent or good in Colorado. But Chase Dollander looks amazing. Surely he has to get the call up at some point this year. I like some of their bullpen arms. I'll say it again. Seth Halverson. Keep an eye out for this guy. The dude's stuff is absolutely electric. I think Thairo Estrada was a nice pickup for them. Brenton Doyle looked really good last year. I think there's a world where the Rockies are a 60-win team. I think 58.5 is crazy low. I think they're more of like a 62, 63, 65 most win team right now. Shout out Jeffrey Yan. I hope he makes it. The dude's absolutely electric out of the bullpen. He's hitting splits on guys when he strikes them out. I'm taking the over on the Rockies. I think 58.5 is actually insanely low for them. They are so much better than the White Sox. It's not even close. Which is funny because the Marlins, which maybe it's because they have Sandy Alcantara, maybe that's the reason they're like, listen, they're going to get 14 wins when this guy's on the mound no matter what, guaranteed. 63.5 wins for the Marlins feels absolutely insane. Have you guys looked at this lineup? Have you looked at this pitching staff outside of Sandy Alcantara? It is atrocious. I think offensively, this could be one of the worst offensive teams that we've ever seen in Major League Baseball history. I don't know how they're going to score runs every single game. Like, I like Xavier Edwards. I like Connor Norby. Jonah Bride, former Gamecock, so shout out him. But I don't know if those guys can carry an offense like they're expected to right now, which is just insane to say out loud. And outside of Sandy Alcantara, I am not confident in this pitching staff at all. Like, Ryan Weathers, I think, will have a bounce back. Edward Cabrera has stuff. Max Meyer, like, are these the guys we're relying on? 63.5 feels incredibly high to me. I am taking the under. I'm smashing it. I'm hammering it. I think they're way worse than the Rockies. The Angels come in at 71.5. Ooh, that feels like a really good spot. Again, I think the Angels are probably going to win under 70 games this year, but the big thing with them is going to be Mike Trout's health, because they did improve. Kikuchi, Soler, Kenley Jansen, those are automatic improvements. Travis d'Arnaud as well on this team. They got better. They made their team's floor a lot higher than it had been, because when you had injuries, when you had guys not healthy in the past, the guys filling in were so bad. Zach Neto's a really good player. I like him. He's going to be back at some point. The pitching staff is still very sketchy. The bullpen is still very sketchy, and it is all reliant again on Mike Trout being healthy. If Mike Trout plays 130 games, I think that this is an over. But we haven't seen him do that in like 4, 5, 6 seasons, so I'm going to have to take the under here. I feel like there's just no way that the Angels right now are going to win 72 games on the season, and that's because of Mike Trout's health. Until he's healthy, I have to doubt him for now. It's just been too many years in a row. Keeping in the AL West, we have the Oakland A's, who are also put at 71.5 wins, and I gotta tell you, this one to me is a major smash the over. I think the A's have a dark horse chance to win the American League West. Now, I'm not gonna say that they're favorites. I'm not gonna say that this is a smart pick, but I'm just saying, I'm putting it out on the internet, that I think the A's could be a dark horse team. Lawrence Butler so far in spring training looks awesome. He looks like like he might have gotten even better than what we saw last year, which was a great season. Brent Rooker was incredibly good, and now he's going to be hitting in a minor league ballpark, a lot more hitter-friendly. I can't wait to see the numbers he puts up there. JJ Bleday was great. Jacob Wilson is up playing shortstop every single day. They made pitching additions of Luis Severino and Jeffrey Springs. I really like what shouldn't say Oakland. Did I call them Oakland earlier? I really like what the A's are cooking, and I think over 71.5 is free right now. I think this is a team that's going to be right around 77, 78 wins, kind of conservatively. Wow, really? Am I like insane? But the Nationals at 72.5 feels, again, free. I feel like that's such an over. Like, how do we have them so low? The Nationals last year won 71 games. I think they are 2 wins better than they were. Adding Nathaniel Lowe and Josh Bell to this team makes them 2 wins better, plus a full season of James Wood, a full season of Dylan Cruz. I really like the young players on this team like CJ Abrams, Luis Garcia Jr. I think pitching-wise, a little bit underrated. Like, there's no clear dominant ace, but you've got Jake Irvin, you got DJ Hurds, you got Trevor Williams going to be in that rotation. Mackenzie Gore, Michael Soroka, Mitchell Parker, like they low-key have a lot of arms. I don't know. This one feels like it is way too low. 72.5, taking the over. Woo, Pittsburgh Pirates 77.5. They won 76 games last year, and they've got a full year of Paul Skeens and a full year of Jared Jones. Everything makes me want to take the over, but man, they had such a lackluster offseason with basically not making this team better at all. I don't know if they truly are, but because they have the full season of those 2 amazing young pitchers, especially Paul Skeens, I will take the over, but it's going to be very close. Like, this is an incredibly good line right now for the Pirates, 77.5. Maybe if they get off to a hot start, you know what? I'm talking myself into it more and more, and now I'm just realizing I'm taking the over on basically everybody, it seems like. But seriously, I think the Pirates have a chance to win around 80 games this year, especially if Skeens and Jared Jones are healthy, especially if O'Neal Cruz is healthy along with Brian Reynolds. There's a lot of good players on this team. I wish they went harder this offseason and made a push. Keeping in the National League Central, we've got the St. Louis Cardinals, who are also listed at 77.5. Last year in 2024, the Cardinals won 83 games, so they think, wow, oh man, that does make it tough, but they lost Paul Goldschmidt. They stink. This Cardinals team is so bad. Oh, 77.5 is such a good spot. Could they win 78 games? They probably could. That feels realistic. I'm going to take the under, though, just because I'm a Cardinals hater. This team is really bad. Like, you look at it on paper, if there's any injury to this roster, they're screwed. But also, in the same time, I wouldn't be shocked if there are some major bounce-back guys. Like, they have a lot of young players who did not really hit their peak just yet. Like, I'm waiting for the Jordan Walker breakout. I am waiting for it. The problem is, they're pitching, and they might start selling off guys, which is probably why their number's so low. I think they're going to stink. I'm going to take the under for them. I think they are going to trade guys like Ryan Helsley. I think they'll trade Sonny Gray if he allows them to. I know he has a no trade clause. Anybody who's good that the Cardinals can move that is not free, young, under contract, I think they'll be looking to move. So I'll take the under on the Cardinals. Ooh, kind of the Cardinals of the American League. We've got the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, they're a team that if things go well, they can easily win 83, 84, 85 games. They made good additions this offseason. They got better. Adding Andres Jimenez, adding Anthony Santander, bringing in Jeff Hoffman, even bringing in Max Scherzer to the rotation, I think is a nice back-end arm. The problem with the Blue Jays is they've been so overhyped the last few years that I've been down on them. I haven't believed, but 78, they won 74 games last year, and that felt like a horrible, horrible season. Vlad Jr. is amazing. Bo Bichette's going to be back. You know what? I think I'll be on the opposite side here. I'll take the over, but I don't think it's going to be by much. Like, I could see the Blue Jays winning 80 games. I think everybody in the American League East is going to be around that 500 record, if not better, like the guys like the Yankees and the Orioles. So I'll take the Blue Jays over, but this is a sketchy one for me because, again, similarly to the Cardinals, if things go bad for the Blue Jays, they're going to look to trade Vlad Jr. They're going to look to trade Bo Bichette. They're going to look to move on from guys and make this team moving forward looking towards the future, not this current season. Cincinnati Reds coming in at 78 wins. So last year, the Reds had 77. Ooh, that alone, I like the over. I mean, Terry Francona, I think already gives them multiple extra wins over David Bell. I didn't think he was the greatest manager. Terry Francona, obviously, one of the best managers we've seen in the last 20 years. The dude is a winner. He's won championships. He's awesome. I also think the Reds have a lot of great players. Like Ellie De La Cruz is so good. Matt McClain is going to be back and healthy. I loved adding Gavin Lux. They added Brady Singer to a rotation with Hunter Green, Nick Nick Lodolo. Like, they are low-key a very, very fun team, and I think a little bit slept on right now in what is still a weak National League Central. I would be hammering the over for the Reds. I think they have a legitimate chance to win the NL Central because of the talented players that they have and because of Terry Francona. San Francisco Giants at 80.5 wins. I am going to take the under on the Giants. I think that this is going to be a bit of a slow year. It's not that I think that they stink by any means. That division's absolutely loaded, and I think they're the fourth best team there. But with how many games the Dodgers are going to win and how many games the Diamondbacks are going to win and the Padres and even the Rockies I think are going to be better than we expect, I think we see the Giants take another step back here in the first year under Buster Posey as the president of baseball ops. Willie Adames is a very good player. But outside of that, I don't know if I call Justin Verlander an improvement. Their pitching definitely scares me a little bit. You lost Blake Snell, who was the best starter on that team. Logan Webb's awesome. You can slot him in for 34 starts a season. He's great. But everybody else is a bit of a question mark and a concern. I think the bullpen isn't as strong as it was the previous year as well. I don't know. I just am not believing the Giants right now, so I'm going to take the under on 80.5 wins. Tampa Bay Rays, 81.5. Oh, that is such a good spot for the Rays, I will say. But I think I am going to have to take the under. I know the Rays just they do this every year. They surprise everybody, but it feels like looking at this roster, this is not the Rays of the past. This is the Rays of the future. They're not a team that is going to make as much noise as they have previously. There just are holes on this team. There are holes on this roster. I don't think they're going to be bad, but I think 81.5, I think they're very similar to the Blue Jays in that 78 to 80 win range. It's an amazing line. I'm just going to have to go under here. Shane McClanahan back, though, is huge. Their pitching's great. I just don't know about their offense. Man, the disrespect to the Guardians. I know I disrespected them last year, but 82.5 wins. That is 10 less wins than they had last year, which, again, last year was a bit of a surprise, but honestly, take the middle. I think they're an 86-win team. So to me, this one's an over. Their pitching is still great. Their bullpen is still incredible, and I feel like that's what everybody sleeps on every year, is that when they get a lead, they do not give it up, and it's because that bullpen is lights out from the 6th inning on. You're just not scoring any runs. Their offense is good enough with Jose Ramirez. Carlos Santana is still really good. I know they lost Andres Jimenez. I don't think it particularly matters. I like Lane Thomas. I like Stephen Kwan, John Kenzie Noel. They're good. The Guardians are a solid team. So to me, putting them at 82.5, again, in a weak division, that feels like a free over. I'll also say this. I don't know how the Brewers are an 83.5 win line right now. This team won 93 games. The division did not get that much better. So you think that the Brewers are going to win 10 less games? I don't know about that. That's got to be an over. I think we're sleeping a lot on weird teams. How are you separating the Brewers and the Cardinals and the Reds by only a few games? The Brewers are clearly one of the top teams in the division on paper going into opening day. There is no doubt. Losing Devin Williams does not make that big of a difference for them. They still have a great starting rotation, or I should say a great Brewers starting rotation, because on paper it doesn't look great, but they always make it work. If Christian Yelich can be healthy this year, along with Jackson Chorio, who's so good, Garrett Mitchell is awesome. I guess losing Adames is big, but Joey Ortiz is a solid player. They're going to figure it out. I think they're an over 83.5 win team. I think they're 85, 86 wins for sure. Here's one that I think is going to probably bother some people. The Tigers at 83.5, I think, is an extremely fair line. There is a world where I see the Tigers having a bit of a step back this year. I don't necessarily know if I loved their offseason that much. Yes, Jack Flaherty was a good addition. He helps their starting rotation. I don't know how much Glaber helps. Offensively, this team still terrifies me. Outside of Riley Green and Kerry Carpenter and maybe Parker Meadows, I guess, Matt Vierling solid. There's just a lot of guys that feel like they're in that glut of just being 10% better or worse than league average, along with Riley Green, who's a star. 83.5 wins for the Tigers. Where am I going with this? I'm going to say under. I'm going to say under right now, 83.5. I don't feel good about it. I don't feel great about it, but I do think the Twins bounce back a little bit this year. And the fact that the Tigers won 86 games with a team that had 41 wins in their division, I don't know. I don't know if that happens again. And I'm kind of feeling the same way about the Kansas City Royals. Now, Bobby Witt Jr. is one of the best players in baseball, so I guess he's the game changer, is that when you have one of the best players in baseball, your team is going to win more games than they should typically. But that offense really scares me. They need Vinny Pasquantino to wake up and do something this year. Can you rely on 34, 35-year-old Salvador Perez to be a main part of this offense again? Because outside of those three guys, it's a bit of question marks, and Jonathan India is good too. Pitching-wise, Reagans, Lugo, Waka, I really like it, but it's a little bit weak, especially on the bullpen side. I think I'm going to take the under on the Royals too this year. I was super high on them last year. I think I'm going to take the under as of right now. One of the reasons being that, again, we're sleeping on the Guardians, and I think we're sleeping a little bit on the Minnesota Twins. Now, they're super weird, the Twins. They're put at 84.5, and I'm going to tell you right now, I'm just going to take the over. They won 82 games last year in what was a nightmare season for them. They stunk last year, and they won 82 games. But I look at the Twins' rotation, I look at their lineup, and I go, they have to be the best team in this division, right? Especially with that bullpen. Pitching-wise, Pablo Lopez, Joe Ryan, Bailey Ober, Chris Paddock, Simeons, Woods, Richardson. Like, those last two are a little bit sketchy. You also have David Festa, but those top three are awesome. Lineup-wise, Matt Wallner, I think, is going to be great. Carlos Correa, Buxton. I guess a lot of it depends on health, and you're relying on health from three guys who are almost never healthy with Buxton, Correa, and Royce Lewis, but if they are, they're amazing. Their bullpen's lights out. Joan Duran, Griffin Jax, Cole Sands. I mean, we know that their bullpen's nasty. I see them being better than they were last year. I don't know if they win the division. Again, I still think this is the Guardians' division to lose, but 84.5 wins, I don't see how they're not an 85-win team this year, and if they're not, they're going to fire Rocco Baldelli, and I think they're going to try. I think they're going to go for it. They have to. How many times are you going to just keep using the same team over and over again, expecting different outcomes? You got to change something up, and I think they will. Oh, Seattle Mariners, 84.5. This is so tough. This is so tough. Initial reaction is, man, that's probably how many games they win. They probably win 84, 85 games. But I'm going to take the over on the Mariners. Here's why. I think J-Rod has to bounce back this year. I think he's going to. I think the down offensive year that we saw from the Mariners last year, it's not going to be as bad. They have Randy Arozarena for a full year. Victor Robles looked really good. I think Jorge Polanco could bounce back. He's too good to be as bad as he was last year. JP Crawford's going to bounce back. He was so good 2 years ago. And their pitching is still incredible. They still have the best pitching staff in baseball. It's not even close. Their starting rotation might have 5 all-stars. So I think that they're going to be over. I think this is an 86 to 88 win team. I like the over on the Mariners. Ooh, Padres, 85.5. Wow, this one's tough because the Padres, if they start off slow, I think will start to sell off pieces. I think that that's a team that could move Dylan Cease this year. Maybe they look to move Michael King and cash in. Maybe there's other guys that they try to get better from. I think this is definitely more their floor. Like, I see them as a floor 85-win team. So for those reasons, I have to take the over. But I wouldn't be shocked if they do go under. That's because they started trading off guys. But you still have Tatis. You still have Machado. You have Bogarts, Cronenworth. Jackson Merrill's awesome. Still some good pitchers in that pitching staff in the bullpen. It's hard to not win 85 games if you're the Padres. Chicago Cubs are listed at 85.5 wins on DraftKings. Some of the other books have them at 87, which I think is a much better line, which means I'm going to be taking the over. I think the Cubs are an 86 to 88 win team. Kyle Tucker being added to that team was huge. They got better. They made their bullpen better too. I like the Cubs going into the season. The NL Central is going to be fun to watch because there's a lot of chaos as to who is going to rise to the top as the best team. I am surprised they're that far ahead of the Brewers, though. That surprises me a lot. Now, I know I'm saying over for a lot of teams. Don't worry. As we get towards the top, I think there's a lot of guys that have way too high win totals. I think that they're going to drop down a little bit. One of those teams that I think is not high enough, though, is going to be the Texas Rangers at 85.5 wins. I think they're going to be over that. I think they right now are on paper the favorite to win the American League West. I'm not scared of the Astros if you're a team out there. I think they've gotten a lot worse this year. And I think the Rangers just had the World Series hangover. You still look at that lineup. It's so good with Corey Seager. And now you add Jake Berger and Jock Peterson to that already stacked lineup. Adolis Garcia is going to bounce back. If Jacob deGrom is healthy, this team wins 90 games. They have Kumar Rocker. They have just like a lot of really good players where if things go right, they run away with this division. If things go wrong, well, they have a catastrophic season again, but I just don't see that happening. So I'm going to take the over on the Rangers at 85.5. Now for the Boston Red Sox at 86.5. I know I've been talking about how I think the Red Sox could win the division. I think they're very good. I think this is a solid team. 86.5 though is a really aggressive line, so I am going to have to take the under ever so slightly. I got them at like 83, 84 wins, I think conservatively. If things go right, this team can win the division. There's no doubt in that. They've improved, grabbing Garrett Crochet, helping out their bullpen, Alex Bregman. Like, I like this team a lot. But I just don't know if I like them at 87 wins in what is maybe the toughest division in all of Major League Baseball. So I am going to have to take the under on the Red Sox, but that's not me hating. That's just if I have money, where's my money going? It's going on the under. This one to me might be the most free. Arizona Diamondbacks at 86.5 wins is the freest over there is. They won 89 games last year. They were so close to making the playoffs, and then they added Corbin Burns to this roster and Josh Naylor. I don't care how much better theoretically the Dodgers are. The Diamondbacks are that much better. This is a free over if you're thinking thinking about it, you're thinking about it for too long. Over. 86.5, that's so low. This could be a 90-win team. And for the Houston Astros, I'm a hater of the Astros this year. I hated that they traded away Kyle Tucker. I don't love their starting rotation. I don't love how this team is built right now. Going into the 2025 season, there are major holes. And moving Altuve to the outfield, honestly, still doesn't really make any sense, because if you're just going to keep Mauricio Dubon in the lineup, why not have him play the outfield, keep Altuve where he is? Whatever it is, I'm taking the under on the Astros. I am down on this team right now. Again, they are one injury away from being like, oh boy, what in the world do we do? And trading Kyle Tucker was malpractice. I still hate it. Cam Smith looks great, but trading Kyle Tucker was ridiculous. Ooh, the Baltimore Orioles at 87.5. That's such a good line. That's down 4 wins from the previous year, but they lost Corbin Burns. They lost Anthony Santander, but they added Tyler O'Neill. Adley Rutschman didn't have a great year. Jordan Westberg was hurt for a little bit of it. I think I have to take the over with the Orioles. I think they are an 89 win team. So 87.5, while it's a great line, I think is just slightly too low. And I do think at some point, the Orioles are going to make a trade for a pitcher. How can they not? Zach Eflin's really good, but he can't be your ace. Grayson Rodriguez is going to take a big step forward, but still, you don't want him to be your ace this year. They need one more pitcher, and I think they eventually cash in some of those young prospects and get guys. Mets, 90.5. Oh, wow, that's a really good line. Mets won 89 games last year. Oh, man, wow. That's such a good line, but you know I'm taking the over. I'm a Mets fan. I got to take the over. I think this division at the top is going to be possibly 3 90-win teams. I think that's 1, how bad the Marlins are, and that's 2, how good I think all 3 of these teams are. But at 90.5, I have to take the Mets over. I wouldn't blame you if you took the under, though. I think right now, they are 89, 90, 91 wins. Juan Soto is a huge difference for this team, but I am a little bit concerned about the pitching. Just a little bit. Trusting David Stearns, but right now I'll take the Mets on and over. Yankees, 91.5 wins. I'm going to be honest. I'm taking the under. I'm taking the under on the Yankees, not because I don't think that they're a good team, but I think losing Juan Soto is going to make a much bigger impact than they're being let on. Now, adding Max Fried, really big for the rotation, definitely. And their rotation is one of the best in baseball, and their bullpen's one of the best in baseball, but I'm also a Yankee hater for 1. And 2, I don't know, there's just something that happened in the World Series that makes me think the Yankees are not as good as they were considered. There's a weird feeling going into this year, like they're bringing the Beards onto the team. I know they made a lot of additions, but they lost Juan Soto, one of the best players in baseball, and they still have some holes at major positions, and they're relying on a lot of young guys who just don't really have the track record to be helping out here. I get scared when a team is so very much built around one player, and right now the Yankees are built around Aaron Judge and Aaron Judge alone. They could smash this. They could very easily go way over. Like the Yankees could win 100 games and I would bat 9. But I'm going to take the under. I'm a Yankee hater. Let's do it. Phillies, 91.5. Oh, man. See, like, I have them in that same range as the Mets. But Phillies won 95 games last year. Do I think they're 4 games worse? I don't. This isn't over as well. I think the Phillies are over 91.5 wins. I think they are currently, on paper, the best team in the National League East. I think you got to give them that crown still until the Braves retake it back from them. Braves had a down year last year. I know they had some injuries. They still have those injuries. We'll talk about them in a second, but I think the Phillies are just way too good still. This might be kind of their window closing. I don't like putting those in air quotes. I don't like saying it, but I think the Phillies need to make some noise this year. Otherwise, you have to consider moving forward. What is the plan for this team? Because if they don't make it to the World Series or win a World Series this year, you've got to make a change because it's just not working. It's working enough. Not working well enough. So I'll take the over, but they're definitely a team to watch. Like I mentioned, those Atlanta Braves at 93.5 wins. I think the Braves have the chance to be the second best team in baseball, no doubt. Like again, last year, they dealt with injuries. Ronald Acuna Jr. is going to miss some time still to start the year. Austin Riley had a down season. Matt Olson had a down season. You're expecting a lot of bounce backs. They signed Jurickson Profar. The thing that scares me is their pitching. Spencer Strider coming back from major injury. Chris Sale was sketchy last year at the end of the year. He won the Cy Young. He was awesome. When he's healthy, he's great. But Chris Sale's health, I think, is a little more sketchy going into this year than a lot of people are talking about. Reynaldo Lopez, too, had some arm stuff going on. Got to keep an eye out on him. And then the rest of that rotation, like I love Schwellenbach, but there are some major question marks at the back end of that, along with their bullpen. I think not as dominant as it was the previous year. I'm going to take the under on the Braves because, again, I think 93.5 means they have to win 94 games, and I think them, the Mets, and the Phillies are all going to be around that 90 win mark. So it's not that I don't think the Braves are good. I just don't know if they're 94 wins good, 3 better than both the Mets and the Phillies. That feels like a little bit high to me. So I take the under. And then call me crazy, but I don't think the Dodgers are winning 104, 105 games this year. They are the clear and best team in Major League Baseball, but this is still an incredibly difficult sport to win 100 games in. The Dodgers won 98 games last year. I'll tell you this, I don't know if they're 6 wins better than they were last year. This team is incredible. This team is amazing, but the Diamondbacks got better in this division too. There are teams in the National League that got better. I just think there are a lot less wins that are going to be free this year for the Dodgers than there were last year. So I'm going to take the under. I still think they probably win 100 games. I just don't think they're an 104, 105 win team, which is where they're being put right now. And over under at 103.5, I'm always going to take the under. It doesn't matter what team you are in any era. I'm taking the under. That's so many wins. You're winning like 2/3 of the games you play. That just doesn't happen in baseball. So those are my over-unders. Honestly, I feel like I took a lot of overs, but whatever. This is a crazy video. You guys can let me know down in the comment section below. Which do you like? And again, this was me talking about how good I think teams are, where I think their win projections could be. And when you're talking about over-unders for putting money down, I'm going to take the one that I think is most likely. I'm not considering what I did for other teams. I'm considering how am I going to win money? How am I going to win this? So if I took more overs, I guess I'm just an optimistic guy. But I'd love to know in the comment section which over-under is your favorite this year. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed, as well as subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the content coming at you. Follow me on all my social media, GiraffeNeckMarc, links are in the description. That's where I'll wrap it up. You guys know the drill from here on out. YouTube recommends you watch this video. This is my most recent upload, so click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Bye!